to the Extra Medium Show.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Extra Medium Show. We are delighted to be joined by our next guest on the phone. He's an actor, writer, producer. May have seen him in something you know. President of his own company, the way I understand. Jake Kelley, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all asking me to be on, man. I've
yes, sir.
For a while.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. We understand you're coming from Atlanta. That's where you're out?
That's right. Atlanta, Georgia.
We could use the weather break. We're buried in like a foot and a half of snow right
miserable.
now.
It is miserable.
Y'all got the snow. We got it. It's supposed to get down to about 15 degrees this weekend.
Oh, shit.
No snow, but people are still losing their minds. So.
All right. Let's get it going. Let's start it off right.
Well, let's get into the big stuff. I mean, no need to bury the lead. Righteous Gemstones, man. How awesome is that?
Man, it was a dream come true.
Hell yeah.
I was talking to one of my friends earlier today, and then they were kind of asking me what's next, and that's a tough thing for actors to be asked. That's for sure. But after that, man, it's just like, how do you get a role that cool again? So that's it's kind of a thing that's scary, but it's also challenging and kind of exciting at the same time.
Right. Is there? It seems like there might be some room for like a reoccurring role there, right? Because for those that don't know, you play the young version of Eli Gemstone.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that, man, because originally when I was casted pre-COVID, it was a reoccurring role, and I went out there and filmed for a couple of days, and long story short, they told me on day 2 that we were shutting down for COVID.
Oh, shit.
Man, you would have thought it was just the world, and they told me I was never going to be able to act again. So it was a good lesson for me to kind of, first off, the whole world dealing with this problem. It wasn't, just me on the set who was getting shut down. So
right.
It was a good self-reflecting thing over the next year before I was able to go back. And I was fortunate, in the rewrites, they did bring the character back. So, but to your question, to your point, I'm, praying as they write season 3, they decide to incorporate, young Eli again. So we'll see.
So far from what I've seen, it could be open.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, solid.
It could be. Season 2 is focused so much on Eli, who is played by John Goodman. It's just like, I don't know how they circle back to it, but I don't question Danny Mcbride's writing ability. So
right.
If it's something he wants to do, then he's got the capability of doing it more so than anybody else.
Right. How much interaction did you have with those guys, like Danny Mcbride and John Goodman, if at all?
Danny, a lot.
Really?
Danny's so involved with that project specifically, being the creator and one of the EPs. I was able to really interact with Danny, and he's such a nice dude, man. He's everything opposite of who he is. Which is so cool to see, He's just such a down to earth film nerd like we are, man. I've tuned in a lot of you guys' episodes, and I really enjoy you guys because y'all know your stuff and love it. So,
we're pretty good bullshitters. I'll say that.
Hey, aren't we all, man? You guys got me on here.
No, it's all good. Well, you played I didn't mean to cut you off, man. You played the maniac kid in the opening scene of season 2, which is pretty awesome in itself. You're like the first thing that you see when you turn it on. Did you have to train for that at all? Anything crazy?
Yeah, well, that was something that I had, growing up, I was not the guy who was in drama school and drama class and on the stage doing musicals. It was something that, maybe interested me in terms of loving film and finding, 1,000,001 Happy Gilmore quotes to just run around say to the friends. But that was something that I think they were a little bit surprised about because most, 95% of actors, they don't have much of an athletic background. And that was kind of my benefit going into that scene, the wrestling scene specifically, was I was able to do on stunts. So, and again, having a year off before going back, I was aware of that scene. And I was like, I should probably whip myself into shape a little bit. So Yeah, that there was a plus side to shutting down for COVID for me a little bit as well.
Right.
Now, were you really driving the motorcycle? Were you like? How did they film that?
So that's actually that's funny you asked me that because my man Dave Cutler, who was my motorcycle stunt double, just the nicest guy in the world and so skilled on a bike. I mean, he just blew me away every time he hopped on one. But it was so funny. He taught me how to ride a little bit, and I was able to go get my motorcycle license, so I felt a little more comfortable on there. And I would do a take where I would just be on there and I'd just be cruising real slow and kind of real cautious.
Yeah.
I'm saying balance. I'd pull the bike to stop and into the house and they'd yell cut, and I'd just be like, Dave, like, how'd that look, man? Like, was that badass or what? And he's like, yeah. And then he'd be like, all right, let's do one with the stunt double. And he would hop on it and he would just be doing wheelies and all this just bad stuff. I looked directly. I said, yeah, let's use that cut. Let's use that right there.
I don't know. I don't know what I look like, but I know I don't look like that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't think I look that good doing that. So let's just use that one.
That's what's up.
Now here is it that episode where it has Danny McBride's kid, Gideon? He's riding a dirt bike. Is that him riding the dirt bike?
No, man. Oh, I mean, honestly, hey, don't let me say it's not, because for all I know, they're very protective of their actors. They do everything they can without just risking their lives, essentially. So
right.
I imagine it wasn't, but hey, who knows, man?
Who knows? It's the magic of Hollywood.
Skyler is. I call him a kid. He's an extremely good actor. Skyler is. So I'm maybe he's just damn good on a motorcycle as well, and I just don't know it.
Now, so you're a producer and you're a writer too. Is that correct to say?
Yeah.
What's your favorite? If you had to pick one, I'm putting you on the spot right now.
Oh, the two, man, I love producing, dude. It's moving over here to Atlanta wasn't a big jump. I moved from Alabama, but in terms of career choice, it was a big jump.
Yeah.
So, and that was the goal, was to act. That's why I came over here. And over the first couple of years, I just realized very quickly that it just felt very tunnel vision. It was, if I don't book this role, then what am I doing next? And I was fortunate enough to be both my partners, Maverick Diamante and Harrison Chandler, who kind of brought me into what they had kind of started at Steal the Sun Studios. And man, we just made a goal to keep growing and create some of our own work. And just gave me so much just power that I love, man. I enjoy the whole aspect of casting characters, overseeing the script when it's in the pre-pro early stages, scouting locations, and I just really enjoyed that whole process. So of the two, I would definitely have to say producing.
Huh. It always seems so daunting producing anything really, because you have, like what you said, you have to do casting, you have to look over the script, you have to do, it's just so, it seems like so much.
Alex doesn't have the organizational skills.
I do not have the organizational skills.
Hey, me either, fellas. And that's the beauty of both my partners right there, is that they keep my head on straight. So it's man, we've come across some really, really talented people who we've been able to incorporate in a lot of our projects. And people that's kind of the beauty of Atlanta is everybody knows where they're at, and they're humble about it. So you find a lot of people who they want to work and they want the experience. So we've been really fortunate to come across a lot of people who have made a lot of our films and whatnot possible.
Very cool.
I noticed you have a lot of short films that you produce. Do you have anything like full feature film that you're eyeing at coming out with?
So we're working on the feature. That's one of our goals for the year is to put our first feature film out there. And it's challenging because everything we do is funded by the three of us. And, that's something we take a lot of pride in, is the fact that we've done that and kind of stuck our neck on the line. But that's definitely, that's the hope. And we have a lot of features that, we have written and have a lot of materials for in order to deliver to people like Danny McBride. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at the budget and they're saying, hey, this is $25 million. That's quite the step up from our $5,000 short film we just did there. So it's really just about, potentially meeting the right people and putting the right story in their hands so we can get that feature made. Kind of the Seth Rogen Superbad route a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now, since you're on the production side, when you were filming like Righteous Gemstones, it doesn't make it easier. Like, I mean, it doesn't really make the acting easier, probably, but like, does it make the whole experience easier with you? Like,
So it's funny. It's funny you say that as far as the acting, because I do find it easier from an
Yeah?
actor's. And this is something I talk to a lot of people that are starting out, and I still consider myself very much a young actor because I am. But I've had people reach out to me and maybe wanted to get involved with it a little bit, and they've asked me for some advice, and that is one of the first things I say is really pay attention to the writing, because the sooner you realize the purpose of your character and why your character was written, it makes your job as an actor a lot easier.
for sure.
Very clear goals about what you need to be accomplishing and why your character is even involved in the script in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't figure that out, then that means the writing is not very good and you probably shouldn't be doing the role. So yeah, man. So like that's something that was very clear in Gemstone specifically, because I was blessed to be in the opening scenes, but it did just establish the whole storyline for the season, which I think is so cool. And that's something that I'm really proud of for sure.
Hell yeah.
And you're young John Goodman, Dan Connor. He's like the man.
Yeah.
It's like,
man, that is something that I will never be used to saying. And I hate that I did not get the opportunity to meet him. They were so just strict after COVID and people crossing paths and whatnot, but he's so phenomenal in that role. And I was such a big fan of his, growing up and even watching the first season of it. It just like, when I got the audition, it was like, okay, whoa. I just read for cop number 1 yesterday, and now I'm reading for young
Yeah.
So it was a big deal from day one for sure.
Was it a long process with the audition, like from like finding out you have the audition to finding out you have the role? Did you have to wait a long time?
Honestly, man, it was not. I think something I'm kind of finding out day to day. The feature films are the ones that you'll wait a couple of months and they'll kind of get back to you. But TV shows, man, they kind of spit them out a little bit, once the production's underway. So we were actually Steal the Sun, our company. We were in Chicago working on a documentary that we're still working on today, and this was February of 2020. And I remember I had my brother go out there because him and I, we like to experience new places together. So I had him come out for the weekend. We were sitting at dinner the first night there, and I got the audition, besides for it. And it was like, I knew he was a big fan of the show. So I just looked at my brother, Brian, and I said, man, like, I hate to do this, but I got to go lock myself in a hotel room for a couple of nights and, really, really focus on this. And understood. He's been the biggest fan of my corner for sure. But it was special, man. Being there for that documentary, something that's so close to us, and and being able to do that audition in the hotel room and then booking it, it probably was about a 2 to 3 week turnaround.
It's pretty quick, I would think, for sure.
It was quick. I mean, because that was early February, and it turned around. I was out in Charleston middle of March, so it was pretty quick.
Yeah, you wait longer for regular ass jobs.
Yeah.
McDonald's take 2 months to call you back. So we're talking like 5 to 6 minutes actual screen time, right? How long of shooting process is that?
Well, it was interesting because it was broken up by COVID. So it felt a whole lot longer than it was, that's for sure. But I was probably in Charleston for a total of just over 2 weeks. Wow. Yeah, and a lot of that was I spent a full day on a motorcycle with Dave. I spent pretty much a day and a half in the wrestling ring, with a lot of guys who were incredible and kind of teaching me some of those moves. And yeah, it was they were really good about just, I mean, man, it's stupid how much money these streaming services and these networks give these people to make. There's let's give them 3 training days and pay them for those.
Hey.
That's something I cannot relate to with my short our tiny budget. So I think it's incredible, But it was a cool process.
Now I have to ask. So while you're there for the 2 weeks, and you're doing filming, do you have like craft services?
Well, of course.
Well, It's a follow-up question to that. If so, how good is it?
It's pretty. It's pretty damn good, and it was obviously after since COVID, it's been a little different.
Yeah.
But it's almost. I mean, it's cool. They treat you too well. They post COVID, they give you a sheet, and it's just here's your entree for lunch. Pick out of these 3, and sides. Pick 2 out of these 6, and whatnot. Dessert. You eat very well on a set. To answer your question,
That's like one of my biggest goals to become an actor. It's just for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've learned that. I've learned that lesson though, and I think many actors have. If you got a scene after lunch, you better be careful. I've just storm and then just been like, oh god.
So with COVID and everything, were the auditions in person or is that like a video?
So even this was pre-COVID.
The first audition. Yeah, you said that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, because that was. I mean, technically, that was when COVID was still a thing. It was just the early stages when everybody on Twitter was just making jokes about it. But obviously, that changed very. But yeah, still are, right? Still are. But yeah, it's crazy. I feel like that's something that when I started out, I was so looking forward to the process of auditioning and being in a room with 20 guys who look like me. And that's not a thing anymore, man. It's not.
Do you do any psychological warfare when you're waiting with them?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You scout them out. A lot of people, sitting down and just staring at the sides, kind of saying them in their head. I'm more just like just stare at everyone individually for about 15, 20 seconds.
The guy next to you, he's like, "You wore those jeans today, I see. Good choice."
It's got to be crazy seeing that many people that look like you, though, like a Slim Shady video.
It's just been so. I've done so few in-person auditions, man. It's crazy. Everything's just submit it yourself nowadays, which is cool, man. It gives a lot of creative room to kind of do your thing.
I feel like it kind of expands your reach a little bit too, right? I mean, you don't have to travel all these places to put in auditions. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Which again, that was something I was excited about, but financially, that's been a good blessing for me. But I'm such a big Damon and Ben Affleck fan. I think about all their stories of them hopping on trains and riding for an hour and a half to go to an audition. I just so inspiring, but that's just things change with time.
Yeah, there's something romantic about it. Like
I agree.
Yeah, the whole story.
I got to captivate that a little bit, just cruising on a MARTA for 30 minutes and looking over the sides before like 2 of them. But probably never again. I don't know if we'll see in-person auditions for a long time.
Man.
I hope so. I do hope so. But so you mentioned you're working on a documentary. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or is it a secret?
Yeah, man. No secret, man. It's something that my partners and I have been very passionate about for a long time. It's the story of Jamel Roberson. Jamel was a security guard working at a nightclub in Chicago.
Okay.
And, essentially there was an active shooter who came into the club and shot the place up. And Jamel, who was attempting to be a police officer, he was in charge of a police officer, kind of took it upon himself as a security guard to, take down the guy. He went and subdued him outside on foot, took him down, and unfortunately, a police officer misread the situation and shot Jamel.
Wow,
man.
Active shooter. And it's my brother-in-law is a police officer. It's not a documentary that's designed to attack, the blue. It's just very much looking at the overall situation and saying, why is there 2 sides to a situation like this?
Yeah. The guy's a hero.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He absolutely is. And that's kind of the light we want to paint him in. And it's just very much kind of a documentary that's attempting to bring everyone together and saying, hey, this is a societal problem. This is not a situation where we should be pointing fingers and saying, whose fault is this? It's let's come together and figure out why this keeps happening type situation.
I agree.
Right. Yeah, that's got to be an awesome feeling, too, to be able to do something you're passionate about something that's going to make a difference in the world, hopefully, if people, get a chance to see it. So that's pretty awesome.
I think that's the biggest blessing I've found with my partners in Steal the Sun is we do work on stuff we're very passionate about, and even some of the scripted stuff we write, it's a lot of it's personal to us. and that's where a lot of your best writing comes from, is personal places. So
For
that's
sure.
I've definitely been fortunate to learn with them.
Man, it's gotta be hard, like, because I'm sure there's interviews and stuff, and like reliving everything for
Oh,
some
man.
people,
It's tough. It was, their Jamel's family's incredibly strong. They're all willing, him and his friends, just so willing to talk to us and share stories. And it was special.
Yeah.
And that's something, my brother, like I said, he came out to Chicago. He kind of set in a couple of those interviews, and he had to walk out. And he told me after, he was like, man, I really didn't, I didn't understand what you guys were getting into, but powerful stuff. And, Jamel deserves that, man. It's something we're really happy to be a part of, challenge for sure.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be on the lookout for that, for sure.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
So we're going back to something you mentioned earlier. You said you didn't really like, you were into sports. You weren't really thinking about acting when you were younger. What made you like dive full, like, all the way into it?
Man, that's it was a long ride. I'll try to keep this as brief as possible.
Hey.
It's something that it's part of the journey for sure. But I growing up in Birmingham, it was always just kind of being a big Alabama fan. It was just always a thing. Hey, go to the University of Alabama. Go to the University of Alabama.
Roll Tide.
You see, we're in Ohio State territory, so we can disagree a little bit, but
I'm not a huge Ohio State fan, so I don't even
it's all
care.
right. It's all right.
Relate, though. You can relate. That it's just such a natural thing to just, all right, well, you're done with high school. Now you go to either Alabama or Auburn.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it was, or how I thought it was, which is unfortunate because I was just so close-minded to everything else that was out there.
Mm-hmm.
But so I go to Alabama and fail out rather quickly. Didn't work out for me, as school never quite has. I just, I just never had any direction of what I wanted to do, and that really kind of handcuffed me in my focus there. But so I'm working a couple of jobs, construction and bartending, and one of my guys I grew up with, Barrett Gossett, him and I are working a construction job together. He was also out of school at the time. And we decided we were going to go back to Birmingham for the weekend. And on the trip home, we came across a flipping vehicle that was coming towards us. And it was a single car accident, no other car involved. And him and I we pulled over, hopped the median, and cut this girl out of her seatbelt. Fortunately, she was okay, aside from some cuts that were could not prevent those. It was pretty bad. The car was beat, but thank God she had her seatbelt on. Everything was fine. But essentially, man, we get back to the car, and him and I kind of look at each other and just, let's be firefighters. So that was like
Wow.
the third spot, man. If you knew him and I growing up, that was just always a thing, just coming up with these crazy ideas of what we wanted to do with the rest of our lives. So yeah, that kind of happened, man. We started, we went into firefighter school and going through all these obstacle courses, and we're loving it, having a great time. And I think a couple months in, we just kind of looked at each other and, it was like, do we really want to do this for the rest of our lives? And the answer was no, we did not. So yeah, so we dropped out of that. And about 2 weeks after that, my cousin's girlfriend recommended that I go do some featured extra work as a football player in a film that was filming in Birmingham. So I went out for about 2.5 months and just fell in love with the whole process of it. It was, I think it was just such a blessing that, it was filming in my hometown, and that really special to me, that's kind of where I found film, and my love for it. So after that, man, I kind of packed my stuff, and I was really close to moving to LA before I realized that I had about $25 in my bank account. So I decided to move to Atlanta and pretty much be homeless there instead.
Man.
Might as well make a movie about that.
Right.
Holy shit.
One day.
My only goal now as an actor is to be a firefighter in some film. So I can just say that I did it.
Full
I did
circle.
It yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So has anybody recognized you yet from TV?
No, man, no. And that was.
He had a mask on.
Not the whole
We'll
time.
use it as an excuse.
Yeah.
I think it requires like a recurring role and people just seeing you regularly, I guess. And I think that's cool, man. I think that's really cool. I was around a couple of guys the other day who I had just met, and like that night I just met them probably 30 minutes before this conversation, and we're all sitting there just having a drink, and that one of them brought up Righteous Gemstones and how they were watching the new season, and just like none of them said a word to me. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I think that's awesome. As long as they're not just like, God, that damn maniac.
Dude, it's got to feel real cool knowing that millions of people have seen you. Like, it's I don't know.
I mean, we
what
were
to
fans
say.
of the show before
Yeah.
we saw you on there, so.
It's very cool.
It was very rewarding for me, being able to go back home and watch it with my parents and some of the guys I grew up with. That was, there was a short list of people that I was like, I really need you to watch this, and that was it for me. But it definitely helps that it was, it followed Euphoria, which was, I believe, like one of the best openings in a season's like history for HBO.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool, man. And even just that, man, that HBO entrance, the static entrance HBO's got. Growing up, when I was watching Entourage, I thought that was specific to Entourage.
Oh.
I've always felt like such an idiot for thinking that. That was just like only HBO show I was watching at the time was Entourage, and that's all I could think about for it. So then my scene following that was like, oh, okay, that's pretty fun.
Now, talking about Euphoria reminds me of certain nude scenes, and Righteous Gemstones definitely does not shy away from male full frontal. So,
I mean, you're in a wrestling locker room, man. What do you want? It's realistic.
hey,
Man, that was funny. I just kind of do it. To be honest, we did the scene one time, and David Gordon Green, who directed it, man, they just have, I don't want to say a good eye for what works. He just walked up to that man, he said, ditch the towel. And he just dropped it immediately. Didn't say, he didn't think about it. My man just ripped that towel off and said, all right.
So that's not part of the casting process then? Like, they didn't look for the perfect one, like the most aesthetically pleasing?
Yeah, no, not for that. I imagine that has been done in the past.
he does get a compliment in the scene. So,
Yes, he does. From a fantastic actor. Yes.
All right, well, we're not going to keep you too much longer, man. We'll wrap this up. Real quick, though, one more thing from Righteous Gemstones, because it's so awesome. Did you really get slapped in the face?
I did. Yeah, it was a lot lighter than it appeared, that's for sure. But Kevin, the guy who played my dad, and he was a really cool guy. And I told him, I was like, come on, man, just give it to him. I might never get this opportunity to do this ever again. So it hit me good, make it look real. So we had a good time with that. And he got me once or twice.
very cool.
And then, all right, last question. This seems super random, and I apologize, but it's become a tradition on our show. Anytime we have somebody on who's not any guest on the show, Danny DeVito, overrated, underrated, or properly rated?
I was prepared for this. I think properly. I think he's properly. I do. He's so good at what he does, and there's nobody else like him.
Mm-hmm.
So that works in his favor. But I'm saying properly, man.
See,
he's just.
I think that's
that's
accurate.
I feel like Always Sunny saves him. Like,
Perhaps. I think that is fair. I think that is very fair. And of course, that's most of my opinion on him is based off of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's fair. I like that take right there. I like that.
Okay. We'll add you to the consensus.
mark it down. Write it down. All right, well, man, we'll let you go. Have you ever been to Cleveland, Ohio, or in Ohio in general?
But my man Trey Young is the All-Star starter, and that is in Cleveland. I would love to make it up there. Probably not going to happen.
Well, with our very large audience, I'm assuming Trey Young's listening right now.
Absolutely.
So, expect some tickets in the mail.
Yeah. Well, if you ever make it up, man.
I got a couple questions for you guys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
You guys, y'all obviously, you guys love film. How did you guys meet? Did you guys Y'all known each other for a while. How did this kind of come about?
We met at a bathhouse.
Don't listen to this guy. So
That was my guess. That was what I assumed.
you can't take this guy anywhere. So Shaman and Alex have been friends for like their whole lives.
Since we were
Shaman's
7.
like our producer, fact checker, background kind of guy. You might hear him throughout the episodes. But Alex and I met probably 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Through a job that we had. We both just randomly met through jobs, and we didn't even work together. We had we worked for competing companies, and we actually started coaching Little League together, like randomly, like in Akron.
Wow.
So we took over a coach pitch team that needed coaches, and he was just kind of like...
It was real Moneyball stuff, or not Moneyball,
hardball.
Hardball
Yeah,
style.
of course, I was like, I knew that's what you were talking about while you were coaching. Like,
Yeah. And come to think of it, Alex didn't even know if I could play baseball when he asked me to coach, but luckily
That's
I
how
can play
desperate I was
baseball.
for coaches.
But
It was
we
terrible.
turned this
I
team
hated
around.
it.
I mean, it was...
Don't let him. There was no good in it.
We won some games, man. It was,
Oh,
but
God.
yeah, long
It
story
was
short, we kind of just met through work, and then just decided one day, like, we're just gonna go for it, man. Like, stop being afraid to do stuff. And
I really applaud you guys for doing that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
But
it was right when like COVID started, and we were bored, so we figured might as well do it.
man, they're so big right now. Podcasts, they're big right now. And,
Yeah.
and it's something that, once I was introduced to them, I've been kind of addicted since. So it's, I was curious, you guys have anyone specifically you all listen to that you kind of were like, man, we just love this so much, like we need to do it ourselves?
I'm a big fan of Stuff You Should Know.
Okay.
It's kind of nerdy, but a big fan.
Yeah.
I like learning about random stuff like that. And, take it how you will. I used to and still some Rogan, a little Rogan,
I was a Howard Stern fan for a really long time, and that's pretty much what I listen to most of the time. I have like a couple local talk shows I listen to, and sports talk radio and all that stuff. And then I'm just kind of like, these guys aren't that special, you know what I mean? Why can't we do it? And,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, you guys, y'all remind me of Sam Jones a little bit. He's a one-man show, but I mean, he just asks good questions, and he enjoys talking to people about film. So,
well, everyone has like a story. That's why we like doing the interviews, because like with you in like the documentary, and you and not starting out like necessarily wanting to be an actor, but ending up here, it's cool. And if there's other people that listen to us that think, hey, maybe I want to be an actor, they hear other people's stories. It's not too bad. It's not, it's hard. Everything's hard, but it's doable.
yeah, 100%, man. I agree with that, and that's something I'm an advocate for as well. So I second that. Go do it.
And if you want to write, you don't have to be an actor. You can be a writer. You can do anything.
right.
Yeah, let me tell you, as a writer, you're gonna hate your life someday.
All right, man, before we let you go, is there anything you want to plug, anything you got coming out that you want the people to know about?
Man, I wish. Hopefully, next time I hop on with you guys, we'll, down the road, we'll do this again, and I'll have to do that. But
Very
for
good.
the time being, go follow Steal the Sun Productions on Instagram, and keep an eye out for us. But guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you having me on, man. I've really been looking forward to this.
Same to you, man.
We appreciate you. And we hope there's an open invitation anytime. There is. Yeah. So
I appreciate it.
And I feel like people are going to recognize you any day now. The groupies and all that. It's going to come flooding in. So
it's coming.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, man. We'll take it easy out there. Be safe, and we'll talk to you later, man.
Thanks,
All right,
man.
y'all. Well, stay warm.
All right, Jake Kelley, everybody. All right. Well, I thought that was a good little chat there.
Great guy.
Yeah. Interesting story. I mean,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's the thing is like you think you're going to talk to somebody about one thing, and then everybody has a story, like you said. It just kind of leads from there. Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you have people that are like, you don't know. We don't know who's listening, and I know like stuff seems daunting at times. So if you hear someone that's doing what you want to do, you just don't know how to do it. Talk about it.
Yeah.
Makes it easier, with anything.
Yeah, so for those who have not seen it, go watch The Righteous Gemstones. It's a fantastic show on HBO.
Phenomenal. It's really good.
Yeah, John Goodman, Danny McBride. What else do you need?
Mm-hmm.
And Jake Kelley. So get your ass out there and see it. We're not going to harp on it too much. I hope you all enjoyed the interview. Give us some feedback. Follow Jake. Let him know where you found him. And hopefully he'll come back right before the big premiere of his next movie. Before it hits Hollywood, you know?
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into what did you watch?
What did
I think
you
we
watch?
all got one.
Boom.
Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to keep it religious.
Woo. Praise the Lord.
Drastically different than Righteous Gemstones, though.
Okay. Passion of the Christ.
Almost.
Okay.
Almost. Midnight Mass.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Netflix show. And there's a lot. It's a brand new show. Well, not brand new, but it's relatively new, within a year, I think. I don't want to give too much away because there's a lot of twists. Basically, it's a I'm pretty sure just it's going to be one season TV show. If you mix M. Night Shyamalan and Stephen King, they had a baby.
Okay.
That's the show. It's very Catholic derived.
Like The Conjuring. Is it scary? It's scary.
It's scary-ish.
Surprising.
It's about
for you.
Yeah. I was apprehensive when I started, but here's why I think I like it. So I think I can give enough away. Like, it's about an island community, very secluded. It used to be pretty thriving, but there was an oil spill, so a lot of the people moved away. So there's only a few residents left. Not a few, like a few dozen. Okay. There's a church. Not a lot of people attend. They have a priest there. It's a Catholic church. Priest. The congregation all raise money and send him to the Holy Land to see it before he dies. But he has like dementia, or he's not well, and he doesn't come back. A new priest comes back, a young priest, and then stuff starts happening. Okay. The guy who plays the priest, I don't know his name. Not that, I mean, it's important, but it doesn't help with the story. Is one of the best acting jobs I've seen in a long time.
Really?
Yes. And I went to a Catholic school for a little bit. You know, I grew up with a Catholic background. So it's really...
Learn something every day.
Yeah. You know how it goes. It's really interesting for me, the stories, because it has to do with angels. Now, when you think of angels, you think of like the cherubs and the, you know, beautiful humans with wings. That's not the case.
Angel of death.
Well, sort of. If you look at angels from the Old Testament, I don't want to get into religion. That's a whole nother thing. They're not what you think they are. And it has to do with that.
They're not like Michael, the angel?
Not at all.
Huh.
No, they're scary beings. But it has to do with that. A lot of twists. Really good. I think it's directed or written by the same man who did Haunting of Hill House or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Haunting of Hill House?
What is it?
The House on Haunted Hill?
That's definitely not it. I think I'm right more than...
That's a movie, but I think he's also right.
Okay.
It's really good. It's like 8 or 9 episodes. The episodes are like maybe a little over an hour. It's creepy. It makes you think. It's kind of like Da Vinci Code, where it has to do with religion, but it's not so much like it's this. I don't know how to say what I'm saying.
You don't have to spoil it. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think people get the point.
Really great show. Best thing I've watched in a long time. I recommend to watch.
And it's on Netflix?
So it's a Netflix show.
Oh, so Netflix produced it?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's up for some awards. It's I don't know what ones, but it's you know, it's got some.
Thanks for the info.
It's got some. But yeah.
Sam, when you watch anything?
I went to classic. I went Criminal Minds.
All right.
Good show. I mean,
Like new episodes or like just rewatching?
we watched
Gideon first, right?
Yeah.
And then Rossi comes in after that. Yeah.
Which one do you like more?
Gideon.
Yeah, Gideon.
I don't really like him.
Really?
He's the man.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He just gave his own take on things. He didn't give a fuck. I mean, Rossi does kind of the same thing.
Yeah, but
Gideon's like...
the OG.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess.
Criminal Minds. Reed is the best character probably on
hands
Criminal
down.
Minds.
Hands down. It while I watch it, it makes me feel so sane because you compare yourself to these insane people. Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm sane.
All right, we're still waiting for the listener out there. We're still planning a personality test to see if anyone, mostly Shaman, is actually psychotic.
Yeah.
Like, genuine.
There might be some hurt feelings or
Yeah.
or maybe a breakdown that happens or a breakthrough. Who knows?
It could be like Mari.
Mari. That's how you say it. I think it's isn't it Maury?
Maury.
Maury.
It's Maury.
Maury.
I think it's Maury Povich.
Maury.
Yeah.
All right.
Because when they chant his name,
Maury.
But that's like the crowd effect.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I have been. I mean, this isn't a show necessarily, but I think YouTube shows count, right?
yeah.
Because that's what I've been watching. I've been watching this guy. He's a gaming historian on YouTube. So, I have a small vintage video game collection. I'm not gonna get too in detail about.
Size doesn't matter.
Keep telling yourself that. But this guy like does like history of like stuff that you didn't know of, like how Super Mario came to be and how the Nintendo, and like it's super interesting stuff. Lawsuits, like Nintendo sued Blockbuster. They didn't want people renting video games, and it was this huge thing, and copyrights. And it sounds kind of boring, but it's also like super interesting.
Because then they're not getting the sales from each like customer because they're renting it.
Why would you buy it? Yeah.
So then they jacked up the prices to the retail or to the people who are running the games, and it was a whole thing. But yeah.
What's your favorite vintage game? Number one.
My favorite. Super Mario 3 is pretty tough to beat. Personally, probably Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, Super Nintendo.
Damn.
I love it.
Not even the first three.